Hello people, welcome back to Daybreak Again Reaction. Yes, today we have another reaction and there is a little bit twist to it because it is a little bit political, it is a little sensitive and could be even emotional. So let's proceed with caution. Let's get right away into action. An African man born on July 2nd, 1925, the first democratically elected prime minister in his country. In his 30s, this son of Africa liberated his people and led to the transformation of independence. He became popular as a Pan-Africanist and an African nationalist. He was the political leader of his party and from 1958 until 1961 when he met his tragic death. Shortly after the independence of his country and his ascension as a prime minister in his country in the year 1960, a rebellion broke out in the army which marked the beginning of crisis in that country. He appealed to the United Nations and the United States for help to suppress the Belgium-backed rebel organization. However, the United Nations and the United States both refused. So the Prime Minister turned to the Russian Soviet Union for support. This action conflicted the United States and the Belgium, who were in opposition to the Soviet Union as a result of Cold War. An elegant man, a flexible dancer, brilliant and articulated man, whom no one could rival for the national leadership in the country's 1960 general elections. At age 34, he became the first prime minister just as the country's colonial master prepared to give its independence in 1960. His failure to deal with the army's mutiny that started in July 1960 together with a scheming Belgium encouraging the rebel secession because of its rich mineral marked the beginning of his end. With nowhere to turn to, he went to dance with the evil of the era, the Soviet Union, inviting its leader Kita Kreskov to send military support to suppress the Belgian-backed rebel organization. Now the US and the Belgium will never forgive him and saw him as a communist instead of a Pan-African nationalist. The process of elimination of this noble African man began, which chiefly involved the United States and Belgium, who were secretly authorizing agents to get rid of this nobleman, who was a prime minister in his own country. In the end, his own people who had turned enemies because of indoctrination supported Washington and Brussels. They placed him under house arrest and nearly beaten to death. On January 17, 1961, he was flown to the rebels' camp, where he was driven out to a secluded place and disfigured by a firing squad. He was buried in an unmarked place, later exhumed and eventually dismembered. His body parts were dissolved in sulfuric acid while the bones were ground and scattered. On February 13, 1961, his death was formally announced on the rebels' public radio. After the announcement of his death, Several protests were organized across several European capitals, including Belgrade, London, and New York. At a time of a soaring hope for an independence-era Africa, what happened to this noble man during his premiership still matters to Africans, especially in Pan-African affairs. Unfortunately, those responsible for his death are yet to be prosecuted. This is the story of Congo and Patrice Lumumba. Now, a son of Africa, an MC well known, will be introduced to bless the mic and pay his respects to Patrice Lumumba. Kao Denero, your audience. Audience, your MC.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Patrice Lumumba. Straight up, como Sankara, Che Guevara, Bob Marley. No doubt, Yeah, whatever they do, never warriors. Got from the bloodline of warriors. He's so marvelous, look at the sight. Tight boss, protect the title. They stole all our riches, give us the Bible. Blood is survival, but we're still going strong. Survival of the fittest, where the king come from. I'm still in the turf, rocking with an empty pocket. Xenophobia, self-hate, man, we need to stop it. They're trying to make it toxic, like they did to Lumumba. Eradicate my heroes, now wait till left for Cuba, with nothing else to offer. Hey yo, they took him into isolation, propaganda to the masses, fool the congregation, lock him up and throw the kid with no medication. Next day, they faced the firing squad. So much pain on Patrice, he was hollering God. They did the same to Sankara, Robert Nestamali, all the legends face Wahala. Now the continent will dry up, man. Yeah, fever like Sahara. Then they left us with palava. Sad, man. Let's go.
It's too painful with a Luna. All my people struggling from Freetown to Kaduna. They love my niggas like Natuna. I read the story of Lumumba. He's some strong black people. If he's steady in the climb, you're the one that's on the speak to. They be acting in a so Babylon knows that you can't kill, I know. Another one gone. But yes, another one born.
Yeah, I had a dream like Martin Luther King, but I woke up broke again with no food for 50 king. Need a big size, more crown can fit the king. I used to pray just so I go rich 16. My style's major, my friends dropping out of school, getting AK-47 from Charles Taylor. I wonder if my people will ever get a savior when they rip all they possess and act like they did a favor. Check your neighbor, innocent mothers perishing every time, man, they go for labor. Lumumba's story can be any one of us. Prince raping kids, then confess in front of Holy Cross. Nobody paid yet for the Holocaust. Street niggas never go to church, I'm God on the road they trust. He was my hero from the Congo, who was crucified so they can steal and get them things that they put up in your phone low. Shit you don't know. I guess you're just happy with your wife and your Volvo. I put my fist up for Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah, vibing to some Willis music. Smoke my cigar, man, as I'm jamming to that Lumumba. Rest in peace, yo, Patrice Lumumba. Yeah, all the heroes that died.
It's too painful with a Luna. All my people struggling from
Story of Lumumba.
They love my niggas like Natuna.
So much pain I can't even digest. Threw my people in the loop, suffering no progress. We steady waiting for the harvest, which never came. Rest in peace, I say God bless. Patrice stood for the people, he did good for the people. Look what they did to Stephen Biko. Hey yo, man not fit for living legal. All my people struggling, still relief poor. Political anarchy destroying the economy. Murder than robbery, still stuck in poverty. Yes, he died cause he gave a speech. Still wondering why every day we still face defeats. Why? Huh? Why every day all my people still just face defeats?
Every day the children keep crying.
Thank you, Mr. Kao Denero, for blessing your mic and paying your respect to an African hero. I just want to recapture some of the important points in your lyrics. And you said, Whatever they do, we never worry. It never worry us because we come from bloodline of warriors. They stole all of our riches and gave us the Bible. But we still bloody survivors. But we still going strong. Survivor of the fittest. That is where we come from. The kings of Africa. We come from the bloodline of warriors. The xenophobia, self-hate, we need to stop it. The xenophobia, self-hate in South Africa, it needs to stop because we are all one African people. They're trying to make it toxic like they did to Lumumba. They try to make our societies toxic for our own people. They eradicated my heroes. Now waiting is left for Dubai. The heroes that rise up to unite Africa, they get rid of them with nothing else to offer. They took him to isolation, propaganda to the masses. They fooled the congregations. They locked him up, and the next day he faced the firing squad. So much pain Patrice suffered. They did the same to Sankara, Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. The first president suffered same fate. Now the continent is dried up. Yes, it is dried up of heroes who will stand to unite Africa. They left us, they left Africa with palaver, and it's sad. I had a dream like Martin Luther King, but I woke up broke. No faith to fulfill the king. I used to pray so I could be 16. My friends dropping out of schools. I wonder if my people could ever get a savior. When they raped all they possessed and act like they did us a favor. Checking on my neighbor. Innocent mothers perishing every time they go for labor. Lumumba's story could be every one of us. Yes, of course, it could happen to any black man around the world. Nobody paid yet for the Holocaust. He was my king from Congo who was crucified so they could steal the things they put in your phones, things you did not know. The things, the minerals that are needed for today's technological appliances and devices. Those minerals, majority of it comes from Africa. But they won't tell you that. And they will not give you the credit. Africa. I put my fist up for Lumumba, for Nkrumah, vibing to some Willis music, smoking a cigar, and driving to Daddy Lumumba. Rest in peace, Patrice Lumumba, all the heroes that died. I should mention that you also paid your respect to some freedom fighters who stood up for black people, who stood up for minority race, people like Bob Marley and Che Guevara. Thank you, son of Africa, Kao Denero. This is truly appreciated. You touched on an African affair, a story that many may not be told, a story that needs to be told over and over and over again, from generation to generation. This will bring hope, this will bring strength, and this will bring unity. When my people finally wake up. Kao Denero, thank you for this piece. People, this is today's reaction. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Whether you are a newcomer here, or whether you are returning, please subscribe and let's grow this channel together. To all my subscribers, I say thank you. I really appreciate how far you are taking me. I see the numbers going up. Continue to come back and let us enjoy what we do best, the music. I will see you in the next reaction. Your boy Pato, and I am out.